くぞはっジェノサイカッタ
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we're going to be getting some rubies with some low-cost characters. Now, this is only something that you're going to be able to do when you first start off in this game, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it's really one of the best things about this game is in the very beginning, you actually get to use a lot of the characters in your roster. You're not just using a bunch of metas all the time like what us veterans are always doing. We're always using the metas constantly. Ignis and Keo and collaboration characters and so on and so on and so on. Ash, Nameless, all these characters, all the BS and SS characters. So it's really nice in the very beginning where you actually, do have to use a lot of other characters. And, we have what's called low-cost characters. Now, there's a couple different ways to see what a low-cost character is. Actually, whenever they are bronze border, like these guys that I'm showing you right now, these are going to be low-cost characters. And you can actually see this little number right here. It says cost 18. That's a low-cost character, cost 18. If you scroll up to, say, like the silver bordered ones here, right? Now we have cost 42. And then, in certain game modes in the game, this is going to be a requirement. You're going to have to use certain fighters for certain game modes in order to get the maximum reward. You see the gold border here? Some of these are cost 54 right here, right? And then obviously the metas and the fest characters, these guys are going to be cost 65, SS and BS. And then regular fest version characters are going to be cost 63. Generally that's the way it works. Not always. I mean, there are exceptions where you have a character like Mr. Karate, who is a regular fest character, but he is cost 65, and so on and so on and so on. But it's really awesome in the very beginning of this game because you actually get to use these, characters that will never get played again, right? And that's kind of the sad thing about KOF is that, and a lot of games do this, over time as you play games, you end up using all the meta characters all the time, right? Every day you're playing with the same characters for the most part. Personally, I like to switch them up a lot because all the characters are just so strong anymore that you really do have a huge variety. So you don't always have to use the same teams in Guild Raid. You don't always have to use the same teams in Immortal Dungeons, especially as a content creator. And I know many of you are not that, but you can still, switch up your teams, have a little fun, just see what they can do, experiment. And I always think that's a fun idea. But you don't always get to use these characters like 94 Keo, 94 Heavy D. I mean, Heavy D, how often do you hear that name, right? Or 94 Yuri, right? And we're actually going to be using them in the Team Relay Dungeon for a giant gas tank. Now, this is my free-to-play account. Now, this to me is one of the best game modes in the game. For one, you get a lot of rubies at the start whenever you do this. Whenever you play this the first time and you collect the maximum reward, you're going to get an insane amount of rubies. And that is sweet, my friends. You're using these low-cost characters to get all those rubies. And speaking of low cost, if you guys want to see how you can look at that, you can actually, whenever you're in a game mode, you just click on the character, click on grade, click on detailed sorting, then you want to click on cost, and then you want to hit apply, right? And now you can see the numbers in the blue right there. It says cost 30, it says cost 24, and it shows you the cost level of your character. So in any game mode, you can actually do this if you're curious about what cost they are without having to click on every single character in the game. It's just kind of a nice thing. But the thing that's also nice about this is, one, you get all those rubies, but you also will be getting coins to be able to get, Clone Zero here, who you can actually use in RHD, Reviving Hell's Dungeon, a pretty important game mode in the game. You can get these all-star souls to level up, any all-star character. These souls actually work on BS, SS. They work on all the all-star characters, which is pretty phenomenal. You got the KOF original souls, which actually work on all the KOF original Fest characters. I mean, it's nice, man. There's a lot of good rewards in here, and that's what I like about it, man. You can get a lot of things to level up your characters. You'll be able to get a Fest memory every single week in Clone Zero, which is nice, guys. That is pretty phenomenal. And for every time you clear, Giant Mighty Moose, Giant Welder, Giant Gas Tank, you're going to gain another 150 rubies each week for each one of these. So after I clear this thing on my free-to-play account, not only will I gain all of the rubies today from doing it, but I'm also going to be able to gain another 150 rubies every single week from this thing. 450 rubies in total when you do all three of these every single week. And all you got to do is jump in there. Once you do it once, you never have to do it again. And it's good because it saves you a lot of time. There's a lot of things we got to do in the game. But it also kind of sucks because, it's a one and done thing. But because the rewards are so good in these game modes, people are just really happy with it. I mean, honestly, this and I think Halls of Elements are two of the best game modes in the game because they're so rewarding, especially in the beginning and even afterwards. You just get a lot of goodness in here. Now, you guys have already seen the characters that we're going to be using, and there's really no synergy amongst these characters, right? I just got to use low cost. And by the way, it shows you the cost right here. It costs 15 to 30 is what we got to use. So Kyo here, he's going to give him a self-buffing leadership right here. And, he's only at Awakened level 1, just level 10, right? I mean, I don't have anything on them. I just got their cores unlocked. I just got their infinities at level 10. And then we are running just a Mad Tea Party set on this guy, right? And the beautiful thing, and I've mentioned this before, is, whenever you can get a 3PG for certain characters in the game, it makes a huge difference, right? Whenever you have these long 3PGs like Kyo's here from SS Kyo, it's insane because it lasts so long. It allows you to install the timer and just do a lot more damage over time, right? That was kind of the bad thing about the banner that we currently have right now, the BS banner with Nameless and Ash, because Nameless already has a long 3PG. And the other thing about those two characters is there are no low-cost characters that are Ash and Nameless. They're either Fest versions, and that's it, right? It costs 63. So you can't really use them in these kind of game modes, so that kind of sucks. And also with Ash, his 3PG only works on the BS version of him. So that's kind of the bad thing. But like with Kyo, with Yuri here, right? We got SS versions of these characters and we can use these 3PGs. So I always tell people to try to go for these 3PGs, especially if you're new to the game, because it's going to make your life so much easier. Now, do you need these 3PGs? No, you absolutely don't. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and pull up something for you guys right now here. And this is my main account, and I'll show you the team that I actually used before. And you guys can see who I used right there. We used Joe and Choi and Heavy D. And then we got Yuri on the bottom and Terry and Kyo. And those are the characters that I used before. And you guys can look at the levels of them, right? Only Heavy D was awakened to level 1. That's it. The other characters are level 90. And I was able to easily get the max score in this thing. It's actually pretty freaking simple. Not difficult at all. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, Heavy D was actually a huge requirement in the very beginning when we didn't have all these 3PGs because his 5PG actually has a super long animation. Now, we're not going to be using it today because, well, I mean, we're just going to be able to install the timer really easy with Yuri and Kyo, and they only have 3PG animation, so it doesn't take as long to do their 3PGs. Whereas with a 5PG, you got to build up 5 power game bars before you actually do it. Whereas with the 3PG, you only got to build up 3 power game bars. And you guys see I just got the coolest set on him. Let's jump in here. Let's get some rubies, guys. This is sweet. And and that's the thing about this game. When you first start out, man, they just give you so much to begin with. I mean, you see how many rubies we're going to get from this. It's actually pretty wild. And it's pretty easy. I'm just going to let it run on auto. Get over here. There we go. Okay. Now, I could just play Heavy D if I wanted to, but I'm not really too worried about it. The other thing that's nice about these game modes is, unlike the regular Immortal Dungeons, you build up your PG very, very easy. There we go. And there we go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And you guys can already see the score. We're pretty much whooping its butt. Very, very easy. Oh. Switch back to Kyo and booyah. Look at that. 13 seconds to spare. Easy peasy. I could have done this a long time ago. This account's like 8 months old. But, I was just kind of saving it, right? And you only got to get 2.8 million, right? And now that we've done that, for one, you get that 50 rubies, right? And whenever I do this 2 more times, right? You can hit auto clear. We do it 2 more times, and we're going to get another 50 rubies a pop, as you guys can see. So that's 150 more rubies right there. And now we've collected all of these goodies on top of all those tokens. And we have, let's check and see how many. Look at that, 2,750 rubies plus the 150 rubies gives you a total of 2,900 rubies, which is amazing, guys. And that's the reason why this game has went over so well, because there's so many good rewards in this thing. And then next week, I'll gain another 150 rubies from this thing. And it's a one and done deal. And again, that's kind of the bad thing about it, but also it's the good thing because we do have a lot of things that we got to do in the game. So I know many of you already know about all of this. I mean, many of you have been playing this game for a long time. Some of you just as long as me, over 2 years. But I thought maybe it would help somebody out there as far as, you know, maybe who to use for the giant gas tank. And we're piling up those rubies on this free-to-play account for that next collaboration, because I'm not going to spend a single one of these things. I mean, especially if you're free-to-play, I really always advise people just to go ahead and save for collaboration, because one, they're super generous, and because that way you can make sure that you can get a lot of memories. I mean, now we know that we're going to have SS versions and maybe even BS version collaboration characters in the future. So the more rubies, the better. So let me know how y'all doing in the game. Let me know the kind of luck that you're having with BS Ash and BS Nameless. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT+7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.